These wonderful young CCU students, our friend Zach Moore will introduce the great finale of this evening's program. Zach, come on up. He's here.
It is my privilege to introduce to you a man who considers himself a conservative, a Christian, and yet a comedian. He's been called the most influential Christian comedian in the U.S., the most media-covered Christian comedian in the U.S., and author of multiple books, including Being a Christian Without Being an Idiot, and Rants from a Red State Comedian. He's the only Christian comedian to be a regular on Fox and Friends. He's appeared with CPAC, Glenn Beck, HBO, CNN, numerous films, in addition to the books that I've mentioned. The New Yorker has even called him God's comic, and rightly so, because good, clean jokes these days are hard to come by. But the purpose of his comedy, the meaning behind it, is no laughing matter. Truth triumphs everything else. Comedy has the unique opportunity to engage sensitive, critical, or complex issues. And when coupled with a Christian worldview, we start to see colors in things we've always thought to be black and white. Please welcome God's comic, Brad Stine.
Thank you, sir. Keep clapping for that kid right there, huh? Was that energy or what? That's the next generation. That's what I'm talking about. I'm excited to be in Colorado. This is my kind of town. This is my kind of state. I am glad to be the last speaker here. You're going to see a little bit of me, and then you're going to go off and do whatever you want. But for right now, we're going to culminate everything you've seen, every great speaker that you have seen and that you're holding into your mind, your heart. We're going to culminate with some fun, with some thoughts about who we are and why we're here. And I have traveled all the way from Tennessee to Colorado because I love coming to Colorado, and I'll tell you why. This is the West, my friends. This is the legacy of what made America great, covered wagon people, and you are that lineage that remembers who we were. And I'll tell you why I love coming here, people, because you hunt, you fish, and you don't apologize for it. And that's why I love coming to Colorado. You live for it. Oh, I'm so sick of this politically correct. Don't shoot the animals. They might get their feelings hurt. This is Colorado conservative. You don't even pretend to be animal rights activists. You people are like, see the bunny, shoot it, eat it, make a hat. Out of the hat's a cute bunny. Yeah, that was a cute bunny. Is that a snake? Nope, that's a boot right there. Put that on. That's America. Shoot it, eat it. You got a head left over, hang it on your wall. That's what made America great. We came here to do what needed to be done on our own, pulling ourselves up by our own bootstraps, and that's why I love you people, and especially Denver. I just drove down here, and I got to tell you why I love coming to Denver, because not only is it beautiful, not only is it this amazing city, but when I'm in Denver, there's one thing I know for sure. I'm not in Boulder. What is wrong with those people? I mean, I've never seen such retrograde hippie wannabes. Is there anything not made of hemp in that town? I've never seen any people, they're living in this utopian falsehood. Hey, Boulder, the 60s called, it wants this destroyed decade back. It's not working, my friends, but we're here now. We're in Denver where people hold truths to be self-evident, that we're created equal and we have the chance to become anything and everything we want. But because it's Colorado, you have a special affiliation for one of my favorite amendments, the second. That's why I love coming to church in Colorado, because not only do you go to church, when you go, you're packing. That's my kind of people. That's what I wanted to be like. And yet I make fun of people like Bowler. But do I hate them? No. I don't hate them. I'll tell you why. Because they believed a lie. They believed a lie that we actually are in a country that was based on personal responsibility. They believed that lie, and it's killing us. They believed a lie that believed that we thought, as conservatives, that the government was supposed to be small and the people would rule. They believed the lie that the government should be big and it should rule the people. We don't believe that. We have come here to spend those ideas right here in this conservative place. And to do that, you have to deal with truth and truth only. And speak it whenever and wherever you can. And so as I sit here on this hot day in June, I have one thing to say. Merry Christmas. That's right, you heard me. Merry Christmas. Why am I saying that? Because I want to see political correctness die in my lifetime. But first, I want to watch it suffer. I say Merry Christmas because if there are people in the United States of America that think it is offensive to say Merry Christmas at Christmas time, the least I can do is say it the other 11 months of the year. I'm going to say it all the time. It's going to become my new buzzword. People will call me on the phone. Is Brad there? Merry Christmas. Please don't pull me over. You know how fast you're going? Merry Christmas. Doctor's visits. We found a polyp in that colon. Merry Christmas. I'm going to say Merry Christmas so often, they're going to beg me to save it for Christmas time. Why? Because political correctness demands that you deny the truth. And the truth is, more people celebrate Christmas than any other holiday in the United States. It's just true. It's just the way it is. And I speak truth. Don't you? People would say you can't say the truth. It might offend somebody who doesn't believe like you. And my answer, of course, is, I don't care. Welcome to the First Amendment in real time. It actually affects you. See, this is what people have lost. I'm a Christian. They try to actually use my faith against me. Well, you aren't supposed to offend people. You're a Christian. I'm like, you know nothing of my faith. Christians aren't allowed to maliciously offend people. Not allowed to think I'm better than others. I'm not allowed to think God cares more about me than others. He doesn't. Trust me, the only reason I'm a Christian, it's the only religion that would have me. I tried to join it. Can I join you? No bacon. I'm out. I'm out. What kind of God would deny me a BLT? I'm gone. But this is what is lost by our nation because they believed a lie of political correctness, that Marxist idea that makes groups out of people and divides us from a conscience that the First Amendment demanded we had the right to. This is exactly what it does. It says that the truth is not allowed to be spoken. It might hurt somebody's feelings. I knew it was really getting out of control when they took Merry Christmas signs out of the retail establishments that wait for us to come at Christmas time to make their money. Because they didn't want to offend all the people that don't celebrate Christmas. Yes! Lord knows you don't want to disrupt that big shopping spree for all those winter solstice buyers. That might cut into $45, $50. No, the truth is we celebrate all ideas here absolutely, but Christmas is number one at Christmas time. Not Hanukkah, and that's a wonderful one. Not Ramadan, Christmas. You don't believe me? I can prove it. You know what we should do as Christians and conservatives and believers in Christmas time? You know what we should do, what we should do this Christmas time? You know what we should buy? Nothing. Nothing. Not a tinsel, not a tree, not a card, not a present. Matter of fact, let's not even walk into any retail establishment the entire month of December in case our being there is offensive. Do you think they'd keep the Merry Christmas signs out of the stores if we didn't show up? No. Not only would they return, they'd be 50 feet high in neon with fireworks shooting out of the top of them. Then they'd make it mandatory that all their checkout girls dress like Jesus. Handing out Bibles with every purchase, the entire time being serenaded by the Vienna Boys Choir, singing Silent Night in Latin. And the only thing that might offend you is stepping in the camel poop from the live nativity scene they shipped in from Bethlehem. That's what would happen if we didn't show up just one Christmas season, my brothers and sisters. That's the power we have. That is the power that we have as Christians and conservatives. We have forgotten that. We are afraid that we might offend somebody. We have taken the beautiful ideas of Jesus to be loving to people and have twisted it and deconstructed it to mean that you can't speak truth, which is wrong. That's where the liberals don't understand. They say you're not supposed to offend people. I said, yes, I'm not supposed to do it maliciously. But if the truth offends you, that's your problem. That's your problem. You see, the truth is supposed to offend you. That's how you know you don't have it. It's supposed to reach into your conscience and get to a place where you realize you're off track. That's why truth is so important. We see it everywhere. We see it everywhere, and we see it manipulated everywhere. Driving here from Boulder, I think I found the biggest waste of taxpayer money in Colorado. It's that investment in speed limit signs. You guys actually have the audacity to put speed limit 65. Matter of fact, that's what your sign should say, speed limit. Why waste the paint? Everybody's like, wah, wah. I'm like scared to death. I'm sorry. I'll get off the road. Sorry, I'm going the speed limit. I'm an idiot. Sorry. And then I made the horrible mistake of getting in the fast lane, which apparently in Colorado means all bets are off. There's some guy right behind me telling you, get out of the way! Screaming at his kid, look at this idiot, he's going 65 and a 65. He's angry at me because I'm obeying the law. Goes around me, speeds off. And this is what's so ironic about this new generation of Americans that think they don't have to obey laws and that everybody's supposed to kowtow to them. The same guy that's mad at me because I'm doing the law would actually be angry if he got pulled over for speeding if the cop was hiding. I don't want you to hide. You have to give me the illusion that I'm not breaking the law. That's the ideas that we have. But signs are supposed to represent truth. They're supposed to give us ideas that what is true, like a speed limit. I actually counted 12 deer crossing signs on the way here, which is ironic because I counted 13 dead deer. Had they been called deer tried crossing signs, would have been true. Deer took a shot. Deer took a feeble attempt to get across the road. Would have worked. No, deer crossing. No, they didn't. They didn't even get close. I tell you that truth is supposed to be in signs, in communication. As Joseph Piper once said, is a lie even communication? The answer is no, because you are withholding from that person truth. It's not communication at all. I was in Atlanta, Georgia, during a time that this real thing came out, this real story came out. There was a woman that complained because she saw a sign that said, men at work. And she was offended because she thought it was sexist. Okay, first off, I believe in truth and truth only. So let's just get this straight. The sign, men at work, was never accurate. Had it said some men at work, the others standing around, that would have been true. But she got upset as a feminist because she felt saying man was excluding women. Forget the fact that we've used for generations the idea of man and mankind as all-inclusive to include men, women, and children, because the last thing you want to do is confuse a liberal with the facts. Truth is something they cannot abide by because it forces them to have to change their behavior. They're not into that. Men at work was sexist. Because what if there's some woman that wants to go out in long pants and long shirt in July in Georgia with a shovel laying asphalt? And if there is one, she's an idiot. You want a sure sign you can turn a feminist woman, put them on long pants, give them a shovel, asphalt in Georgia, they'll be begging to go back to the kitchen. Because it's hot. But it's a sign that's supposed to mean something. And that's what this is in our country now. A sign of the times. Who are we? What are we? What do we believe? What are we going to do? And are we, as believers in God and as conservative believers in limited government and the original founding fathers' intent, are we going to have the courage to leave a place that's safe like this, where everybody thinks like us and everybody speaks like us and everybody has platitudes of how wonderful we are, and we are, but are we going to take it out into the workplace and speak truth? That's what's lost in America, our courage. We've become wussified. It's lost all of it. It's lost everything we had. I'll prove this to you. I'll prove it to you as a comedian who makes a living using words. I went into a Chinese restaurant. Chinese restaurant in Minneapolis. I was hungry. And by the way, I love China. Love Chinese people. China, good place, invented good things that we need, abacuses and gunpowder. Think of how pathetic our fourth would be without the Chinese. No gunpowder. It'd be like, shh. Woo. Shotguns wouldn't be as effective. Stop. So I love the Chinese, love what they've come up with, love the Chinese ideas. But now I'm in America, in Minnesota, in a Chinese restaurant, and they gave me to eat with chopsticks. That's fine. I'm in a Chinese restaurant. But let's just be honest. And might I dare rupture your offensive,ness, but do I look like someone that should be proficient with chopsticks? No. So I said, can I get some silverware? And they didn't have it. They didn't have silverware. Now, this has never happened to me before. There's not another ethnic restaurant I've ever been that expected me to immediately be proficient in their cultural heritage. I've never gone to an Italian restaurant yet, and they go, here's your spaghetti, but first, play the mandolin. Yeah, order a Swiss steak, but you got to yodel. I've never had this happen. Suddenly, I'm supposed to be able to use chopsticks, and I need silverware. They get the manager come over and actually says this: we don't have silverware because we want to be authentic. Truth is what I live for. I said, oh, let me see. So you want to be authentic. Let me get this straight, Bob. I just walked into a Chinese restaurant in a strip mall in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I went through brushed aluminum and plexiglass doors, met by a blonde woman in the front. She set me down at a Formica table, gave me a plastic laminated menu. I'm about to order Chinese food cooked by that Mexican in the back, and when I finish eating, I'm going to pay with a credit card. But you think if you throw in chopsticks, suddenly I'm propelled into the Ming Dynasty. I wasn't ready for this I reject modern technology theme day that apparently you need to go to a Chinese restaurant. I'll try it again tomorrow. I'll wake up to the sound not of an alarm, but of a rooster outside of my window. Then, looking out at the sundial, I see what time it is. Bringing my best clothes down to the stream, I'll beat them with a rock to get them nice and clean. Then I'll call my girl up and see if she wants to go to Chinese, but I won't use a phone. I'll use a telegraph, or better yet, smoke signals. Then I'll pick her up in not a car, maybe a rickshaw or a Roman chariot. Then we'll go off and get something to eat, but I won't pay with a credit card. I'm going to pay with 2 hands, a woven blanket, and some beads. And then when I bring her back home, I'm not walking through the door. I'm going to hit her over the head with a club and drag her by the hair. Now when you throw in chopsticks, I get it. Now, I love that joke for 2 reasons. One, I love looking at the faces of the people going, you're taking this chopsticks thing a little too seriously, don't you think? And the answer is, I am. That's why it's funny. It's sarcasm. It's ludicrous. It's humor. It's what we used to be able to do in this country. Laugh at differences. Not make fun of, find humor in. I was doing that at Pepperdine University for 2 shows, did that, and then they told me, you are fired for the 2nd show. I said, why? Well, you did the chopsticks joke. I said, the chopsticks joke is making fun of the fact that I suck at chopsticks. He said, yes, but, and I quote, you said that silverware was better than chopsticks. I am a Christian man. I do speak of truth at all times. I don't always do things right, and I try to be honest. And I had to think about it, and I got to be honest, folks. I did say that silverware was better than chopsticks because it is. Obviously, a knife, a fork, and a spoon is better than chopsticks. You're being ethnocentric. Obviously, a knife, a fork, a spoon in tandem is better than a couple sticks. Oh, you're just being closed-minded. You're not being multicultural. You're being a bigot. Oh, fine. Here's a bowl of soup. You take some chopsticks. I'll take a spoon. Let's see who gets to the bottom first. After the show, black kid came up to me and said, hey, that was really funny. Woman came up to me and said, hey, I'm a liberal, but I enjoyed that. Another person came up and said, I'm a vegan, but that was funny when you did that bit about animal rights. Another guy said, you should speak with our Young Republicans group. In other words, unsolicited, coming to me, black guy, vegan, liberal, girl, saying they enjoyed my free speech. And the rest of the body was not given opportunity to hear my entire show because two kids were offended by the chopsticks material. I'm not going to give you the cultural heritage of those two kids, but you can pretty much rule out their last name was Rodriguez. The idea, my friends, is that we have lost freedom of speech. We now have a president that wants to get rid of freedom of conscience. That you can't even believe that some things are inappropriate or some behaviors are not good. If that's not a breach of the First Amendment, I don't know anything about anything. And this has to stop. We need to speak truth at all times, not maliciously, not mean. Don't you understand? That's why Jesus said to be nice and loving to your enemies. You know why? Because you don't have to be a jerk. The truth is offensive enough. That's all they need to hear. The truth is offensive enough. That's why I talk about God, as did the founding fathers. Gets the most powerful three-letter word of all time, God, G-O-D. First thing you always look at is his letter G in the name God, which represents Genesis. The first thing you always have to look at to define what truth is in this culture is what was the original intent that God wanted people to be like. What was the first thing that mattered to him? And what's the first thing that God celebrated? Life. He made the dirt for man. He said for man, he made dirt and he created this biological machine, but then it said something amazing. He breathed life into his nostrils and he became a living soul. At that point, we had mind before matter. At that point, we had cognitive reasoning and the ability to look forward and backwards. At that point, we became little gods. We were made in his image. That's why we don't kill our babies. They're dignified by being made in the image of God. But it wasn't enough. God said, it's good that I made stars, it's good that I made heavens, good that I made water, but it is not good that man should be alone. The universe was not complete without woman. That's how important you are to God. So that's why men are supposed to take care of you and watch over you, especially because you were the crowning achievement of creation. And so there was man, and God said, you need something else. And he put us to sleep, and he grabbed from our side, he took a rib, and he made a woman, a womb man. A womb man. From man's womb she came. That's right. Men were the first ones to give birth. And then we stepped back, observed our handiwork, and said, okay, ladies, you can take it from here. My work is done. We celebrated life, and even for those who are out in your community that don't believe in God or say they don't, they continue to celebrate the echoes and shadows of that original Genesis because they still celebrate birthdays. What is a birthday? A celebration of life. I just had a surprise 75th birthday party for my mom, and she was shocked because she's 60. But still, I'm just... Well, she's already getting that short-term memory loss. So I'm thinking if I'm spending big money on her 75th, I give it to her now so she can remember. Then if she makes it to 75 and says, can I have a party? I can say, it was this morning, you know. But Look at you guys. He's being mean to his mother. How do you know she didn't deserve it? My mother was evil. She used to feed me something called casserole. Casserole, French word. It means mom didn't shop, apparently. But we celebrated life as God made it. Our first thought, man, woman, together. And what was the second thing in the same context that God celebrated? Marriage. Why? How do I know that marriage is a man and a woman? Because we're the only ones that can make people. If we didn't make people, we gone. There's nothing left. It was a design by God. But see, this used to be simple, obvious, before someone came behind us and eliminated truth. Deconstructed truth to create a false illusion of truth, and people have bought it all throughout this country. You simply say that marriage isn't really between a man and a woman, it's simply whoever loves each other. Marriage, by definition, meant man and woman. That's what I don't understand about the community that would take our marriage. They keep stealing our words. Gay. That used to be everybody's word. Meant happy and excited and joyful. Hey, are you gay today? No, I'm not. I was gay yesterday. I want to be gay tomorrow. Wouldn't the world be a better place if everybody was gay? Why, even the Flintstones had a gay old time. Is that why Fred spent more time with Barney than Wilma? Jury's still out. We don't know. But it's a word that used to belong to all of us. Who gets to choose that they get to take a word and recreate its meaning? Where were we to say, no, you don't get that word. That's ours. Why did no one say no? Why does no one say, you don't get that? Why, when someone comes up and you say, you've offended me, does nobody say, that's your problem? If it's true, why have we given away our freedom of speech? It used to be simple. It was so simple. We got young kids up here. How old are you, son? Right there, you're right there. I couldn't be any closer to you, son. Got these young kids who raised up on television. He's like going, how did he come out of the screen? I don't understand it. Make him go away. I can see. He's three-dimensional. I'm going to change your life, son. See the guy you've been watching? I'm right here. How old are you, son? 25. There you go. Let me tell you something, son. When I was growing up, they used to have a thing called a boy's bike and a girl's bike. Then again, when I was growing up, they used to have a thing called a boy and a girl. Who thought that was going to get complicated? But at 25, I don't know if they still do that. But if you don't know what they did, how they separated the two was a girl's bike was a normal bike, but it had a big slide out in the middle, so you could slide right in. Boy's bike was like a girl's bike, except it had an iron bar. Welded under the seat directly into the frame, and there was no ambivalence about your gender because the first time you took a drive and your foot slipped off the pedal, you knew you were a boy. And my sister thought it was funny. He landed right on it. It's a Christian group, but loins. That's in the Bible. Right on his loins. And my sister was so intolerant. Talk about intolerance. Oh, it can't hurt so bad. Just feels like when we get hit in the chest. Yes, it's just like when girls get hit in the chest. It's just like when girls get hit in the chest. I'm thinking, no. Because your chest is a gland. We're talking about an organ. You want to feel it? Pull your eyes out, hang them here, do this. That's what I'm talking about. Never made any sense to me. Why would God keep a man so vulnerable as that? Every other organ in a man's body, his heart, his liver, his spleen, protected by his rib cage. What went wrong? Nothing went wrong. The one stinking rib he took to make girls was one protecting our loins. That's what went wrong. But God said,
Feareth not.
what dost thou mean, Lord?
I've cursed the womaneth as welleth.
Inneth whateth waith, I haven't noticed that it is at alleth. I always speak to the Lord in King James. You know, so he'll understand me.
I've altered their hand-eye coordination.
I've never noticed. Oh, you mean like when they're throwing the ball?
No, but that is funny. From henceforth, women cannot apply eye makeup without opening their mouth.
Men and women are different. It's the truth. We're not the same. We are designed to be together and make children. It's not complicated. It's not offensive. It's the truth. If you want to have an argument about how you treat people that want to do things differently, that's one thing. But do not tell me that I have to compromise common sense, reason, logic, and my moral convictions because it offends you. It's absurd, but it's who we were and it's how we started. Men and women together. What else did God celebrate? Holidays. He said take special days, set them aside like Sunday so that people come up from future generations can know something amazing happened here. Pass it on like this country did. We got one coming. See, I think some holidays are more gender specific. Like this one beautiful holiday coming, the 4th of July. That is a guy holiday. I mean, we like the women, but it's the one day a year we're not only asked, but expected to blow something up. I tell you that because I spent many years of my life on the 4th in California. That's right, California, the most wussified state in the United stinking States of America. If there's ever a state that's going to take the original intent of the founding fathers at all principles and turn it on its head to allow everything that they desire to become their right, it's California. They keep threatening to break off and fall in the ocean, but they never do. I mean, I don't want them to die. I just want them to float away. Go start an island of misfit toys. Say hi to the 9th Circuit when you pass Hawaii. Fourth of July in California, man, was embarrassing because they're so wussified. Hey, let's do fireworks. Okay, kids, let's get 150 feet away. Put on these safety goggles. Get behind this plexiglass shield and cinder blocks. Don't look directly into the flame. Daddy's lighting a snake pellet. Do you hear me, man? This is what passed for the 4th of July in California. I tell you that because a few years ago, I moved my family to Nashville, Tennessee. If you're from the South, I am now one of you all. I tell you that it was a different experience for me when I went to get my first fireworks in Nashville and found out immediately I had landed in testosterone nirvana. When I bought my fireworks and they came with a mortar tube. A package the size of my fist, 15 inches of cord to light just enough time to leap into the neighbor's bushes. All right, I had to have hoses going all the way around my house. You want to know the difference between California and Tennessee on the 4th? Here's California. Tennessee. All the old timers trying to join in, they can't give you a thumbs up anymore. That's what I'm talking about. Woo! That ain't nothing. When we were your age, we used to hold them. that was freedom in America. If a firework didn't have the potential to blow your head off your shoulders, it wasn't a firework. That's what we were to celebrate. We were to celebrate animals and the environment. How about that? I thought the green movement, God came up with that one. Here's all this stuff that for you to live in. Celebrate it. Be good to that thing. That's why we can have pets. Pets are something that God gave us to use. And they're wonderful, but they're not your relatives. If you make that distinction that they are equal to us, then we do no longer have the dignity of life as humans. We're no longer made in the image of God, and consequently, people can just do whatever they want to us. The same thing that they do to animals, they can do to people. It matters what you believe about God. They do it all the time. I can't believe what I hear people, oh, those are nice puppies. Those are my kids. What? Those are my kids. Okay, your kid throws up on the carpet and eats it? Because that's weird to me, ma'am. I'm just telling you right now. Okay, your kid's dragging his butt up and down the carpet, and I don't think that's normal, ma'am. Maybe put a diaper on the kid. What do you think, lady? I don't know. Maybe shave his face so we can see who he looks like. They're always doing mean things to the animals that you'd never do to a person. We had them fixed. We had them fixed. No, you had them broken. No, he was working fine till you got a hold of him, I'll tell you right now. We had to put him to sleep. No, you put him to bed. Wake him up, I'll show you the difference. Yeah, I'm telling you. That's what you call putting to sleep. Remind me not to let you babysit my kids. Will you do me that favor? Thank you so much. You see, they're not yours. There are people that tell you that apes are your cousins. Does that offend anybody? Talk about undignified. Have you ever seen apes in the wilderness? They throw poop at each other. You know what would happen if my cousin suddenly started throwing poop at me? He'd be institutionalized. We'd put him in a special place where I could visit him, but I'd be too far to be hit by poop. We'd call it the zoo. You see, it matters how you perceive yourself. It matters what you believe about God. Because that's really all life is, about truth or not truth. God or not. If you believe in God, you got to find out who he is and what he wants, because he's the rule maker. If you don't believe in God, you make up your own rules, and it works great unless somebody else has different rules than a gun. Because there's no morals without God. It's just cultural conventions that can change at the whim of a culture. It matters. You see, the God that I believe in gave me the meaning of life in one sentence. In the beginning, there was a beginning. A time before time. God, there was a designer. A mind before matter. Created. He did it on purpose. He decided you will exist. The heavens, plural. And the earth, a place where we will inhabit, that will be so unique in the universe, so we can look at it and say, look what God has done. He's here. He needs to be worshiped, and his principles need to be followed. The heavens, plural, meaning multiple dimensions where God exists simultaneously. Consequently, since we only have 5 senses, we only see 3 dimensions. He's here right now. We just don't see him because we don't have the ability to catch all the angles. One sentence gives us meaning of life. Atheists have one too. Everybody has a Genesis story. But theirs comes from double doctorates, much smarter, wiser people than us. Theirs goes like this. In the beginning, there was nothing. And it blew up. Who's more irrational, the guy that believes in a God he doesn't see, or the guy that's offended by a God he doesn't believe in? The truth is on our side. Jesus said he was truth. And that's what the founding fathers used as our moral compass for this great nation of ours. From the lineage of people like you and me who were believers and came here for the freedom of religion. The first line of the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law establishing religion, it's never happened, or forbidding the free exercise thereof. It's happening today. When do we speak truth and say no more? When do we demand that every stinking person in this country that's a believer gets his Bible, walks into the public schools and says, what are you going to do, throw me in jail? We protest your oppression. My people started this country, and we started it with this word. Welcome to the first stinking amendment. When will we just do what we applaud here? When are we going to simply have terms? I am PC free. I don't buy into your language system. So when you say you're offended, I say, I don't care. When you say I have to go to sensitivity training, I said, no, I don't. I have a belief, and I'm going to live with it. We don't even know what our Bibles say anymore. We used to. We used to know what they said, and we used them. There are people in this nation, around the world, that go to prison because they have a page of the Bible. We got like 5 each. We got to have tabs showing us where everything is. Where's Genesis? Where's Genesis? The first church had scrolls. You imagine how difficult that would be? Wearing on your back, chafing you everywhere you go. Having to open that up. Let me talk to you about the Lord. The new ones would close up all the time, unexpectedly. Yes, I think.
Okay, if you look right here in Habakkuk,
They honored the Word of God. We used to be that. I've sat here on stages around our country, on television shows, to say these things. I will lift up God and country, and I will tear down political correctness, and I will defend the faith with funny. I think at one time I was a comedian. I no longer believe that. I am here to tell that God is real, that this country was founded on those principles, and the package that I am called to deliver that is in humor. You know, we have the truth, conservatives, because we believe in limited government like the Founding Fathers did. We believe in standing on these principles. Low taxation, government ruled by people because we are the government. We believe in those ideas, and it got us this far. We have the truth if you're Christians. The meaning of life is given to us, and God Almighty actually intervened in this 3 dimensions once and said, I'm here, I'll die, come back to life. Now, you know it's not a cult, come. We have the truth, and we have wonderful, amazing speakers that have been on this stage that have filled you with information, and they're educated, and they're committed, and they're passionate, and God bless those men. And we've got people here that spend money and millions of dollars to get a conservative candidate elected, and God bless you for that. But we've lost the war in the media. We don't know how to communicate our message because they have made it sparkly and fresh and clever. I'm not just saying this to be self-serving, but we need not as many politicians maybe as we need comedians and actors and directors. People who inform by giving you information based on the most influential element of our country, the media. Where's our Michael Moore? Where's our Jon Stewart? Where's our Bill Maher? Because they are raising your kids. I'm one guy. I'm trying. But we need to raise up the artists. In the end, my brothers and sisters, it's been a long day. You've had wonderful speakers, incredible information. And I hope you've had some laughs tonight. But I want to leave you with something from the most important, influential book in the history of the human race, the Bible. In Hebrews 10, 24 and 25, it said this: let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works like we're doing today. Come together as a community of warriors preparing to go out and influence. Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves, in the manner of some who don't do anything, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching. If you haven't got anything from this conference, let me give it to you. The day is approaching. The day where conservatives have got to finally say, no more will we be trampled on when we were the ones that created this country. No more will Christians walk away when you tell our Bibles don't belong here or our Jesus sticker doesn't belong in this school. No more will you take the lineage of this country that we started and tell us it's not welcome in schools. No more. We will rise up and we will see the day that's approaching and say, this president, you gotta go, brother, because you don't know who we are, but we know who we are, and we're gonna stand by the principles that made this country great. That's why I'm here. That's why are you here. Now, don't wait for me. Go out there and do likewise. God bless you. Thanks for coming.